Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome, 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 Psyche family. We thank you for joining us on this evening. We are so excited for our first live. We are excited and hope you are as well. We just want to thank you. We hope that you interact with us and put comments down for us to take a look at and truly enjoy the show. But we know it is Transparent Tuesday.
Get into the shade.
Get into the shades. Are you ready? Let's do it.
Psyche, psyche, in me, the psyche in me.
All right. Good evening, Wendy. Hi, Devon. We're just trying to let a few more people join us this evening. Hope everybody's day has been fantastic. Everything that you hope it was and would be. And if you didn't have quite a fantastic day, we're hoping by the time we finish this live that you'll be feeling good and revived and ready to go start again for tomorrow. Or if we are allowed to see it, we have all tomorrow to reset and start again. So hopefully everybody had a great day. I'm ready to get going. Yeah, if they miss anything, they can go back and look at it or respect people's time.
Okay, guys. So as you said, welcome to the Psyche in Me group. If you want to know what it's about, we do have an introduction in our Psyche in Me group page on Facebook. So be sure to check that out. And then in becoming with Psyche in Me and how it became, it also tells you that. Now, before we get started, I do want to put up a logo real fast on here just to see if you can see what I saw.
So type in the comments if you can. Type what you see when you look at that picture. And that's the actual Psyche, the Psyche in Me logo. That is a logo that God gave Brittany, the vision He gave for her, um, for the Psyche in Me community, for her to be able to separate herself away from anyone else. So we just want you to take a look at that photo, look at it really hard, and just put in the chat what you think you see. They say the heart and mind and the soul connected. Okay.
Okay, across the enlightenment and revelation.
Being set free. Okay.
What was your honest opinion when you saw this?
When I seen it for the first time, I looked at it, I said, well, I see a brain and I see wings And I was like, what is it? Taking your mind to a different level, enlightening yourself. It took me a few times. I'm going to be very honest and transparent. I did not see what Brittany saw, but you know what about that? It's her vision. And so I didn't quite see what Brittany vision was for that. But that's what I saw was, oh, I see a brain and it's got some wings. So, says, I'm that minister. So I look at, God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And I was like, oh, maybe the brain's going higher, right? Taking it to a different level. So, but I was wrong.
All right, so I'll go ahead. I won't prolong it. So what I saw here with the logo, and everybody had a good guess, but what I saw here, if you take a look, I wish I had a pointer, but you see where it's like the two circles. They look like buns to me. It look like women and men would know. It look like a bun, a hair bun. And so right there where those two are at, it looks like it's the head right there. So it's like the head is bending down and there's like two buns at the end of the head. And then with the brain, if you look at it, it looked like it was the arc of someone's back. So it looks like she's hovering over. Well, I say she because it's me with Nike and me. And it was with the two buns. So it looks like it's someone bending over with their back arc. And I was like, wow. So that's where I got it from. And this is actually the limbic system. So when I had tried to create the logo, I did the limbic system. And for those who don't know, the limbic system is the part of our brains that does control our emotions, that holds our memories, and that basically is what we use to function in day-to-day life. So that is what I think. So when I came up with Psyche in Me, I was like, oh, that's a good logo because Psyche, again, is dealing with the emotions, the willpower, your conscience, the inner world, and then coming to see that this was basically, I seen like a lady hovering over. I was like, oh yeah, I got it. I know this is God. Every time I try to get someone to see it, they can't. The only one who was able to see it was my daughter, and she's now 10. So she's the only one who was able to see it. But once I pointed out, then everyone's like, okay, I see what you're saying. I can see it. So I just thought that would be a fun little fact on how my logo came about. This is the original logo. I'm still trying to find someone to draw it like this. So the one that's up there now is kind of, in there for the place. But this is what was the original logo.
So if you know any artists or inspiring artists out there that may be able to tackle this, we would love for you to drop their names to us. After all, we are a community. So, someone who can do it, we're more than happy to have their names.
All right. All right. Okay. So, with our topic today, we're going to be talking about being your authentic self and what does that actually look like. And I'm going to define what that looks like to me. I'm not going to do a Webster dictionary or, Google. It's going to be me. And so since it is Transparent Tuesday, I guess my partner, she's already ready in it because I didn't even get to take off my shades. But I'm about to get real transparent and raw. And this, again, is what it means to me. And then I'll dive a little bit deeper in how it ties into the psyche. Okay, so let's get into it. So being authentic, when I think about being authentic, I think about just being open and honest with myself, knowing that I know and admiring and acknowledging my strengths and my weaknesses, right? And that's not a fun thing to do. I'm not perfect. I never pretend to be, but there is something that is called perfectionistic tendencies. And I have that. So I'm the one that likes everything to go by plan. I want it written down. I want it in this order. I need to check off the boxes because I feel like I'm doing something. I'm on track. And if anything goes off of track, I lose it. Like, it's like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm scrambling around, right? And that's kind of how I was. So being able to acknowledge your weaknesses, it's not a bad thing. It's something that you can be able to grow and finally be able to conquer that thing. And I don't like saying weaknesses. I used to tell some of my patients this. I call it a growth or opportunity for growth, versus calling it a weakness. But that was one of my things. So being authentic, just being open and honest with yourself. And when I did that, I've always been kind of open and honest with myself, but it got kind of deeper to me. It changes. And that's another thing, that being authentic is not just a set deal. It's not a done deal. So it's an ongoing process. And so if you're able to evolve in public and be able to change your mind, it's okay. Because when you're being your authentic self, your mind is going to change. The older you get, you'll find to see that you like some things that you didn't used to like, you like, things that you used to like, you don't like. And that's called you evolving. And so when you're being able to be authentic, you're able to change in front of the public. You're not hiding behind, as they'll say, the four walls, or hiding behind a closed door. You're actually being open with yourself as well as with others, and saying, hey, this is me, this is who I am. Now, when you do that, it is not easy. And it was not easy for me. And I will use examples, even this right here and what I'm doing. And so I will pull up my Facebook post that I had did on October the 6th of last year. And this is when the movement of me becoming my authentic self now, at where I'm at now in my life, this is when everything started shifting. So it says, Happy Monday, stay encouraged. And if you follow me, you'll know I do my Monday motivationals. So basically, I'm normally just encouraging myself, but why not? I learned from my former pastor, Kenneth Easton Sr., each one, reach one, teach one. So if it could help me and I could just reach one, encourage one, then I've done my job, and it could be a domino effect. And so with the Happy Monday, stay encouraged, it says, there's something freeing about finally deciding to stop playing small, to stop dimming your own light just to make others feel more comfortable. No more pretending you don't know something when you do, or holding back your thoughts just to avoid making someone else feel dumb, or in this case as well, comfortable. It's not arrogance, it's self respect. And when you stop hiding your brilliance, you allow yourself to show up fully, unapologetically, and that's where the real power lies. So I'll stop with that phrase right here, because again, this post was about me becoming. And sometimes people are not going to understand when you're being open and honest with yourself. Some people you're going to lose, and some people you will gain, and that's okay. And when I did this, some people may have misconstrued it, or made assumptions of this and took it themselves. And I want you to know that happens. When you become your authentic self, people are not going to understand. They may make assumptions. They'll be like, what is this going on? She used to talk like this. She used to walk like this. She used to look like this. She used to say this. She used to abide by this, right? But then when you change, they're not knowing the newness of you and what you came into. They're still looking at the old you. And then some, okay, I'm going to say get into it with being transparent. Some don't even know you, didn't even get a chance to try to get to know you, and they become and make their own assumptions of you versus just saying, hey, I'd like to get to know you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And so with that, I just want you to know it comes with that. And I've dealt with that, and it doesn't feel good. It don't matter who it is. It can be your best friend, close friends. It can be relatives. It can be church family. It can be anybody that's, that you rely on, you think you're close to, or that, you can confide in, or, feel like you'll be uplifted. It can be anybody. So when that change does come, don't count it strange when people start making assumptions or kind of going off their own way or kind of leaving you alone. It's going to happen. So this is where this came from. Also, dimming your own light. I used to feel bad about being smart, if that makes sense. It might not make sense in that street smart. I'm up there now, but before I was dumb to street smarts. I had parents where it's like, okay, you just go to school, we take care of everything, don't worry about it. So I was very sheltered. And when I got older and going to college, I became street smart. I would say that I'm very knowledgeable in that aspect, but I was very book smart. And sometimes when you're book smart, and I'm talking about myself and my authenticity, it gets kind of looked upon because you're like, oh, Miss Goody Tissue, or oh, she thinks she know it all. And if anybody knows me, I'll tell you, a degree, I'm not gonna say it doesn't mean anything, but it's not the entire world. You got student loan debts that you gotta pay back off, and the millionaires and billionaires, I know they're entrepreneurs, and most of them don't even have, college education. So I never been one that's like that. However, I did learn in my journey and being able to be in my career, I need to open up my mouth. Like, I know stuff that you're trying to tell me, oh no, you don't know this, you don't know. Yes, I do. Or I know I look young, but I'm not that young. Not that old either, no shade intended, but I'm not a young spring chicken. I'm grown, but I consider myself still a young adult. And I'm gonna hold on to that. But they'll look, or again, make an assumption to how you look. Oh, you're young, your age, you can't tell me anything. But authenticity doesn't have an age requirement on it. It's not limited to just age. Wisdom goes beyond that. Sometimes I can learn from someone who's older, just as someone who's older can learn from me. And in my case, when I was talking about me no longer being quiet, it had to do also with my profession. I can literally do my boss job. Yet I don't have that job, right? I don't open up my mouth and say something. Or if I know I'm doing the job and I've been engaged with people and I didn't build a rapport with people, and then you're telling me something else, you don't know them like I know them because I'm doing the work, right? But I've, be quiet and just kind of let it go. And even with how I'm feeling like in a spiritual walk as well. Like I'm telling you about my natural and, physical way. But even with spiritual, like I may not be all the way there, but I know I have a relationship with God, right? And I used to be uncomfortable, like, well, how can God talk to me? I'm not this way, I'm not that way. But if you're willing and you really want a strong connection with him and you really are seeking some stuff from him, he will come to you and meet you where you at. You ain't got to be perfect. Now, I'm not saying that means you can do whatever, because once you're trying, you're striving to go after him, that comes into place where he'll start convicting you of certain things. But again, it's an ongoing process. So don't be too quick to judge people when they're going through and they're starting to be authentic, because you don't know the process that they went to. It could be anyone from saying, and this is not me, but I use an example, just from going to say maybe there was someone who was a drinker and loved to drink and was an alcoholic. And when they're trying to change over this new leaf, you know them as the alcoholic, right? But you didn't know when they were trying to be their authentic self, where they was crying out for help. Like, hey, they went on 3 months without drinking. And maybe life just got hard and very depressing. And they didn't have a relationship where they should have, spiritually, or on a more spiritual maturity level. And so depression got to them really bad. They didn't have no one to turn to. And so they decided to take a sip. Instead of condemning them or, bringing shame, like, well, you know better than that. You went through this long. Don't do that. They were being their authentic self and being vulnerable. I think that's a opportunity for us to be able to motivate, inspire, and encourage each other. And like, hey, if you went 3 months without, I understand. And with stats, I'm a statistics girl too. I love stats, by the way, but I'm not gonna get into that. But statistically, most of the time when it's drug use or even with alcoholism, any type of substance abuse, they're known to actually revert back. However, when they do take them steps, and this have been a 3 month course or a 4 month course, encourage them to be like, hey, I know you went 3 to 4 months without, so you slipped up. But guess what? The next time, call me. You feel like you want to drink? We can have some drink. We can get a Dr. Pepper, as my mama like to say, a Shirley Temple, and be right there. If you need me, you feel the urge, call me up. But don't negate the fact that you did have an ongoing process where you did do this for 3 months. So guess what? You can go another 3 months. So the next time, I expect to hear you going 6 months without. Holding each other accountable, but also showing love when someone is trying to be their authentic self. Uh-huh. Again, the age shows the technology, since we're being transparent today. But anyway, so with that being said, with my post also, so don't let anyone silence you, right? As I mentioned, because of your age, and I gave you an example of me with my workforce, or any day where you feel like you're too young or either not young enough, right? Some people are like, oh, you're too old, you can't work this job, or oh, you're too old, you can't tell me anything, you haven't been in my present day and time. It doesn't always work that way, right? And so your experiences are your experiences, your wisdom is your wisdom, your perspective is your perspective, right? And those things can't be defined by someone else's biases, but you can also be able to respect someone else's perspective as well. It doesn't always have to be subjective, it can be objective. And when it says it's time to stand tall, to speak with conviction that comes from knowing your worth, and to trust that what you have to say deserves to be heard. Going back to what I was saying with college, I felt like what I had to say wouldn't be heard, right? You can play the part, you can look the part, I know what to say, I know how to look, but deep inside, I still was feeling a heaviness, like of me, like, okay, I'm feeling a disconnect from myself. And I don't know if anyone else has been that way, but I definitely have been where I felt like I'm having a disconnect from myself. And when you do that, that means something is changing within you. If you feel like, okay, I'll keep hanging around these people, I feel like I'm by myself, I'm not feeling the vibes or whatever, don't ignore that. That's something inside of you, and really your psyche inside of you telling you, hey, it's time for change. You're no longer fitting in this group of crowd or in this type of environment, whatever that may be. It's time for you to grow, right? And so with growth, it's not just something that's in a box. Like I said, growth is an ongoing process as well. And so just make sure that you're able to grow on your own time and in your own space. Now, I know for church folks say time is winding up, and that is true. But I'm talking about for growth when it comes to the emotional and the mental aspects of things. Give yourself some grace. Like it's not going to happen overnight. And I'm only telling you this because this is what I went through, and I felt like I wasn't worthy enough, or um, I want to make sure I didn't feel like I was condemning anyone, or not really condemning them, but making them feel less comfortable because I can have a certain conversation. And if I feel like they couldn't, I'll kind of make it seem like, okay, I'm holding back my thoughts. And walking in boldness, back on my post. So walking with boldness means embracing who you are right now in this very moment. And I actually did that. Everything, if you look at the intro that I was told to, it basically reassured me. And yes, I know you're saying if you're being your authentic self, you should have that confidence, right? And confidence doesn't mean confidence and arrogance are two different things. Yep. And I was confusing humility with like invisibility. And so I'm like, okay, I want to have humility. I want to be humble. So let me shy away, but don't get that confused. Humility and invisibility are two different things. You can be humble, but also you can be seen where your light doesn't dim. And so I was supposed to have a lampshade and I forgot to get it. But you know, when you have a lamp and the shade is on the lamp and it's kind of, it brightens the room, it does. But if you take that shade off the lamp, it brightens it even more. So just think about that. Like, don't let the shade, take the shade off the lamp. Okay, take the lamp shade off. Let it be able to shine your light through. Don't let no one else dim it. Don't feel like you're not worthy, you're not capable of. And you'll say, well, how does all this ties into the psyche? Well, again, with the psyche, there's a thing where we used to call stuff as meta blockers, and when it comes to medicine. But in this case, it would be, or this case, it would be the psyche blockers. So if you're saying you have fear of rejection, well, if you have fear of rejection, the most thing you're going to do is be a people pleaser. And that would be the opposite part with authenticity. True. Because you're afraid that someone will reject you. You don't want, you want someone to like you. And this is only for the part of when you're not tapping into being your authentic self. You're afraid of what people may say. You're afraid of what they might do, or, how they will treat you. And so you tend to be a people pleaser. But when you tap into knowing who you are, you'll have to learn I can't please everybody. I have to be okay and content with myself. And there's only one person that I really need to be pleasing, and that's God. And so when you get that confidence and you understand that, that's the way that you can tap into your authenticity. Another one when it comes to the psyche, for an example, let's see, you may say, I don't like big crowds, or I feel like I have something that I want to say, but it's little old me. Like, I don't matter. You don't know your self-worth, so you feel like whatever you're going to say or whatever you do, no one will listen to you. So you're giving yourself self-betrayal because you're already self-doubting yourself that you feel like no one else is going to be listening to you. And I'm only saying this again because I'm talking to myself about authenticity and what that looks like for me. And so just know that what you have to say matters. It doesn't matter what you look like, how old you are, how you talk. Because if you notice, I always say my list gets me and I talk really fast. But it doesn't matter about the stuff that you'll think that's important. It doesn't. Even when it comes to your inner self, on how you look, and there's so many people out here that say like there's so many trends going out. Even with content, right? Like content is hard. And it was like, well, I set my own trend. And I was always taught that with from my mom. I don't have to follow the trends because I'm a trendsetter. I have it where people can follow me and follow me in the right way, not like being manipulative or whatever, or trying to control someone's mind, but just being authentically me and knowing who I am and what that looks like and feels like. And so with doing that, it doesn't really matter. You might feel like, okay, well, someone's going to judge me. That's okay. Let them judge. And with that, I'll say with my end of my quote, it's just walk forward confidently because there's no one else like you. And what you have to offer is needed. I don't care if and there's different types of intelligence too. Like there's multiple intelligences. It's not just book smart or you can read something or you can comprehend. There are people who are artistic. There are people, and I'm not saying autistic, I'm saying artistic. And that's another thing with autistic, because I feel like they are the gifted ones. But there are people who are like musically gifted. So there's different types of intelligences too. So just know whatever you have to offer is needed. If you're a good speaker, that ain't my best thing. I am very shy. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am. Even when I have my clients and meet them until I build that rapport, I am still very a shy person. So don't let that hinder you. I encourage you to get and step outside your box. And that's me being authentically me. This is how this came about.
Yep.
What about you?
So for me, on the side of authenticity, I'm definitely there with Brittany, encouraging everybody to be yourself. And if I can reflect back on my life and my path, um, when I was younger, I was a people pleaser. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to feel like I was that person that they could go to, not for popularity, but just because I was a genuinely nice person. And so I wanted everybody to like me. And so I would, sometimes go beyond what I should have went for somebody, right, that didn't reciprocate that same feeling back to me or that same action back to me. But I wanted to be liked so bad because I was so different. You know, we're being authentic and transparent. I always been a thin person all my life. And, some of my friends were, a little bit more, well put, well, I'm not gonna say well put together because we all are well put together. That's what God had to teach me. But they were, they were more appealing to other people, right? And so I felt like an oddball. Like, golly, I don't look like them. I wasn't, being transparent. I didn't come from money. So I didn't have the clothes that they had. I didn't have, sometimes the shoes that they wore, right? And so in growing up, my mother always instilled in me, when you look in that mirror, you gotta love what you see. And I instilled that with my children. No, what I live by is from just trying to be that people pleaser was that I needed to first please myself. I needed to make sure I love me, every part of me. So I went from this person that, even as I got older, to be honest, I still wanted to pick up the weight. I still wanted to look like this. I still wanted this. I still wanted that. But in my growth with God, because again, I am a minister. And so in my growth with God, He taught me to go back to my roots, back to what my mother taught me, remembering that you have to love you when you look in that mirror and know that there is no one else like you. This is what got me to be like, I don't need to look like no one else. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And so I went from being that people pleaser to being content with who I was. And it allowed me to change. And I know that came from God and Him having His hands on me. But it took me. It took me to realize that I needed to love me. And that's what I did. I come from a family of singers and musicians. We are a musically inclined family. And I never would open my mouth to sing because I didn't think I sounded as good as some of my other cousins or sisters or brothers. I didn't think I sounded as good. So I would not open up my mouth. I would not sing at all. And so even though in my heart I wanted to sing so bad, I just would always look at others and say, oh God, I don't sound like that. But God had to remind me that that's right, because you're not supposed to be like them. And so when I listen at Brittany talking about the psyche and how important it is for you to understand that we're not perfect, I say what I would want to leave with everybody in being authentic is just love you. Love every curve, every bump, every freckle, every gray hair, everything about you as you go through life. Love it. Embrace it, because there's no one that is like you. And so if my daughter don't mind me sharing, I know she doesn't because being transparent, when she was, going through this and trying to get this set up, she's like, Mama, I don't sound right. Mama, I don't this right. Mama, I don't that right. And I said, Brittany, you are supposed to sound like Brittany. You're supposed to be like Brittany. And most of all, no one should be able to duplicate you. They can try, y'all, but nobody should be able to duplicate you. So even if you're going, I just want to encourage you, even if you're going in a business for yourself or you're trying something out that somebody else is doing, listen to me and please hear me. It doesn't matter if 10,000 people are doing the same thing you're doing. You are you. And that's what makes the difference. Well, how will I be there? Because you are you. Nobody can do it like you can because you are you. So in my authenticity, I just learned to be me. Be that person that I am, the loving and kind and gentle person, but knowing who I am and whose I am is what shaped me. So that's me with authenticity. It's just, just want to encourage y'all. You're going to make mistakes. Like Brittany said, people going to judge you. Let them. Let them. Try not to. I can't tell you not to let it because that would be inhuman, right? Because we have feelings, right? Emotions. Mm-hmm. So when people do that, it does hurt, especially they haven't taken time to get to know who you are. But I encourage you, keep being your authentic self. Even when they don't know you or don't understand you, keep being your authentic self. Keep doing whatever it is that God has had you to do, whatever it is you feel empowered to do, whatever it is you feel encouraged to do. But do it being you. I'm telling y'all, when I first started off ministering, I tried to duplicate so many people, and I was tired because I was like, I don't hoop and holler, and I just don't do all that. It takes a lot. And I was more of a teacher, and I just felt like I wasn't being impactful. And there were times when I would get through with a message, and everybody would be like, oh my God, I got so much out of it. I'm looking like, how? Because I didn't feel it. I just didn't feel it. But it taught me something. It taught me that even when I don't think it was enough, it was. And so it let me know that I didn't have to preach like everybody. I didn't have to do what everybody else did. That was theirs. That was how God had them. But in me doing it the way he had me to do it, it was impacting people more so than I thought. So I'm going to stop with that. But I want to say again, don't let nobody's presumptions of you, assumptions of you, judgment of you keep you from being your authentic self. Because again, if you don't remember nothing else, no one can duplicate. They can't. No one can duplicate you. Your DNA is your DNA. No one has your fingerprints. So keep that in mind as you go through life. Be your authentic self. And you don't have to worry about anything. And one last thing I want to leave that's burning in my heart. If you learn to be your own competition, is what I taught my kids. If you learn to compete against yourself, and that means to better yourself, not to compete against someone else, then your only competition is within yourself and it's within your reach, rather than trying to compete against someone else. It can set you up for failure. It can set you up for depression. It can set you up to feel hopeless. But if you be your authentic self and know that the only one that can truly compete with you is you, then you will get so far in life. I had to learn that, y'all, in corporate America. I had to learn that. And once I learned it, I taught it to my kids. You are your only competition. Don't ever compete with nobody else. Or compare yourself to nobody else. Because you are you. So that's what I want to say about being authentic. Just be you. Just be you. If you can't do nothing else, look in that mirror and say, I'm going to be me. I'm going to give myself permission to just be me.
Alrighty, so I'm going to try to look in the comments because it is a community, y'all. We do want y'all to engage. We don't know it all. We're really growing through what we're going through. So I'm going to try to take a look at the chat and see, because I know some people were talking and asking, so I want to make sure I get to answer those. And let's see. She can relate.
Yes, Sister Michelle. Relate to the people, pleasing the people.
Yeah, because you want to get a sense of like belonging. You want, especially depending on like your personality, on how you are. You want people to like you. I don't like people being mad at me or upset. Now I don't care though. But before then, I didn't like anyone to be upset with me. It took a long time for me to learn the word no. Like, even to this day, I'm still kind of learning how to say no because I'm always trying to be everywhere at every place, even if it's somewhere I don't want to go. I still try to make myself go just to be a support. So I'm learning how to, say no. So I get you with the relation to the people pleasing. Let's see. What are some space that is hard to be authentic in, and how do you overcome those challenges that may exist in those spaces? And how do we, as youth and young adults, navigate being authentic in such a volatile time as it relates to social media? Ooh, that's a good question. I wonder, do you have the answer so I can bring you on here? Let's see. So some spaces that it's hard to be authentic in. I'm just gonna be real and transparent. And it's just gonna be for me. It is very hard for, I think, young adults, and again, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure I've talked to others as well. It's one space will be inside the church, because again, everyone is on different stages, everyone is on different levels, and sometimes people don't understand that. And how can I put this? I am. I'm trying to be transparent. I'm trying to make sure I articulate what I'm trying to say. Some people, I know we say we don't judge or to come as you are, but I'm not gonna lie, 'cause I even found myself doing this one time at a service that was with a very young service, and I had to get myself. I was like, wait a minute, this is what you were trying to do and talking about more youth. So how dare you? But anyways, sometimes it's not easy, or when you're coming in and you're doing a testimony, or if you're asking for prayer, or you're trying to tell what it is and you're speaking out and crying out loud, sometimes they're looking like, what the world wrong with her or him, or what the world, why his pants sound like that, why he's sagging like that, why he ain't dressed up, why he got on jeans, you supposed to be in your best fit, your best dress, not knowing that was the only outfit that he had to even make it through the doors, and so I think it's a space, and it's an opportunity for growth too, for that space now for the young adults to be able to navigate and be their authentic self. Everyone doesn't pray the same to God. I know we have our main prayer with our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But some people asking me, like when I'm driving, I'm like, okay, God, I need you to meet me where I'm at right now. Like, I can't take it anymore. You said this, I've done that. Where are you? I'm at literally the last brink, and I have faith, but I'm telling you now, I don't know how much more I can take. I know you say, you give strength to people, you know more than what I can bear. You won't give me no more than what I can bear, but I'm telling you now, my back is hurt. I can't bear no more. So, just being, I guess, navigating how to be authentic in that way, knowing that you can come as yourself and knowing that you have something to offer. As you know, others have to tell me, open my mouth. I have ideas. I'm very, very, very interested in trying to get younger adults and youth into the church. But I want to make sure that when it happens, and as I'm trying, that we make sure that we are kind of receptive of that, and that we kind of bring about a change in general, just for churches. And I have ideas where you get to actually like meet that person, to know them, to know, okay, this person may be quiet, but they're good at this. What are they good at? What are they bad at? And I think when you can be your authentic self, in spaces like that, you get to tell them, okay, well, I'm good at this. For example, like myself, and my bishop knows, and I love him, but he knows, I already told him this. I can't be nobody usher. My face doesn't do it. I don't smile enough to be somebody. And every time I get, what's wrong with you? You're too pretty. Smile. I'm like, I know I am, but nothing's wrong with me. It's just my face. I got that from my grandmother and my mom. She worked on hers. I'm still working on mine. So when I talk to my clients, I just tell them up front, like, I'm listening. I don't want you to feel like I have an angry face. I'm not upset with what you're saying. I'm listening, but that's just my face expression. Now, if you say something funny, I can laugh all day long. You be like, oh, there go your teeth, there go your smile. But that's just me. So I can't be an usher. But what I can do, I can bring some ideas. I can be welcoming. I can motivate someone and say, hey, where you at? I can be the one that kind of maybe join a missionary team and be like, hey, we haven't seen you. Where you at? Not just where you at, but, how are you as a person, as a human? How are you doing? How can I help you? Is there some things that you may be struggling with? Mm-hmm. What are you struggling with? Maybe I can look up some resources. And this really is what this community is about. It's about resources as well. It's not just about us talking all the time. Y'all have resources or know anyone? That's also one.
Yeah. And I'll
That's
interject too. I know I'm not a young adult, but I was a youth minister for over 12 years. And one thing that I will say, in what Brittany is saying, to encourage us all, um, especially those of us who's been in church a little while. One thing that I refuse to do is become complacent in God's house. One thing I do is refuse to just stay stagnant in a set of tradition. I tell anybody I'm a tradition. I tear tradition straight down, because um, the young folk and young adults need to be able to know that they don't have to be like grandma and them, or even me. They don't have to even be like me, but they can be themselves. And I think a challenge for the church, if we can just be very transparent, a challenge for the church is to, like Brittany said, make sure we embrace them where they are. And the funny, and I'll share this, the funny thing that I hear sometimes, and I tilt my head to the side and say, so why don't we feel that way about them with their tests and trials? And one thing is, when I hear an adult, right, giving their testimony of what God brought them through, how God brought them over, right, and how He delivered them. But then we spin it if we hear one of them say, I'm struggling with, smoking and drinking and this, and we don't extend that same grace. And I think that's what's so hard for youth to be authentic. So my heart is always going to be with the young folk, because somebody's got to understand them. And not all the time do I agree, because we also have to hold the standard. Mm-hmm. But I truly believe that the body has an opportunity to ensure that the young folk feel like I can come in here and say, I am struggling, right, with fentanyl. They made it in here, fentanyl killing people. So why aren't we embracing them and telling them that, you know what, let's pray about it, and let's see if we can get you in a program. We like to pray for people, but what you gonna do? Because prayer works, don't get me wrong, but we gotta have some follow-up. So that's very dear to me for the person who asked that question, because I want young folk to know that they're being heard and that they're just not there passing time. But I encourage us as the older ones to don't forget, He saved you from your mess. So the same God that did you is the same God that can do them. So let's not judge them. Let's find that community. Let's find that place that we're supposed to be, the hospital, and help them, right?
And nurture, because it's a process.
And that's right.
It just didn't happen overnight. You had to go through that process. Right. And when you rush the process, they miss it. It don't be a true deliverance if you rush the process. It don't be a true healing if you rush the process.
That's right.
And I can honestly say that rushing the process and then feeling pressure on the other side as a young adult, feeling pressure that I had to have all this, that I needed to do all this in order just for God to hear me, or in order for me to be myself. Like, I must talk in tongues. And I do know that is one thing that you do need. I get it. But I felt like if I didn't have that right then and there was no way that I would even be able to hear by God, from God. I wouldn't be able to be used by God. Or if I didn't shout a certain way, or sometimes, like, I'm just real. I can't fake it. And I don't like just going through the motion. That's when that heaviness comes upon me. Like, I can't just fake it. I can't go through the motion, or when I know a certain beat is coming, I'm about to do it. Now, if I feel it, oh yeah, I'll do it, because it took over and I never even knew that I could do that. It just came. But I didn't rush it. I didn't have to feel like, okay, I gotta do this in order to be looking this certain way, or in order to feel included for someone to take me serious, or my relationship with God serious. And so I agree with that. Another space that I would say for young adults, and I know we'll wrap it up. We said 30 to an hour, but that was a good topic. And so I just gonna be transparent. I love topics. I love when y'all engage, because it helps me out. But another space I would say is just being amongst family. Sometimes it's hard. It's really hard with your family, especially if it's at social gatherings, or even family trips, or doing certain things. again, I always learn, and I don't know if it's because of my psychology part on how I have to listen and not just listen to respond, because that is the different listening to hear someone and listen to understand versus listening to respond. And I also learned that from my mom. So that was one thing that I also learned too that I took with me in the field. But when it's family, everyone is not on the same level. And I feel like sometimes with young adults, when we're trying to navigate this thing called life, okay, sometimes everyone is not on the same level. Some things I don't indulge in. And sometimes there are times where I was like, okay, I'm not going to this because I know I'll be out of my comfort zone or feel uncomfortable. And there's some things where it's okay, it's a birthday party, it's at the house, or if we're going on a family trip, I can't control everyone and what they do in their action. Doesn't mean I'm not going to still love them. Even for the one for my young adults, like in my family, I can't do that. And I'm still going on a progress with myself and getting delivered of certain things. And don't be the one that's trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to get delivered of, okay? Because that's the reason why I'm saying now, let me be my authentic self. But it's nothing like that because I've never been one that's out there. But I'm just saying there are some people in family who are may not be on the same level that you are, or maybe they could be up on the level that you think you're supposed to be, or down, but they could still be going through the very same thing that you're going through. Yep. And it's hard sometimes for young adults to navigate because you're like, okay, especially for the older folks. Well, this part of the family they see this, but if I hang with this one, they're gonna see this and be like, well, what's she doing over there? I'm over here trying to get them to my side. Now, if you ain't strong and they over here pulling you with them versus you pulling them kind of this way or having an impact, then that's something different. But sometimes your family can be your hardest critic. Sometimes, and so I just encourage family to love your family where they at. Of course, give them encouraging words, and I'm not saying you don't condemn or condense things down for them. So not condemn, but condense things down, or as they say, you're judging with the word. You can. But just make sure that when you're judging with the word, you're judging its entirety and that you remember the most thing is love. I love my family. So if you see me somewhere and celebrating, like I said, I learned how to say no to something. I'd be tired. I'd be tired. But I'm always celebrating and being that spark and sunshine and still being my authentic self, still motivating, saying, hey, when I'm going to see you over here, you don't go with church one day? You want to join me on this? You want to go for a walk in the park and talk? It don't always have to be on a spiritual level too. It can just be, hey, see me as a human. Sometimes we get caught up in, sometimes we don't know how to separate church and family. When I'm talking about the space for the young adults, we don't know how to separate that. And sometimes you feel like, well, because you're not doing this, I can't talk to you. And that's not the case. Maybe they need to talk to you. Maybe you have an encouraging word. Maybe there was somebody who had to talk to you. And I really wanted this space because I wish I had that opportunity for someone to be like, hey, I'm going through the same thing you're going through, or hey, I'm familiar with that, or I know someone that's familiar with that. This is how we got around this way. This is what we can do the next go around to make sure you reach that goal. I love helping people meet their goal, but if I'm always helping somebody meet their goal and I don't have nobody to help me, where's my help at? And so, just make sure that you see the human in people, knowing that human makes mistakes, which means we are a human unless somebody's an alien need to tell me. We ain't gonna go that deep into it. But yeah, just knowing that everyone is human, people make mistakes, but did they learn from their mistakes, and how did you help them and give them an opportunity for them to correct it, even if it's a mistake? Because some things are not mistakes. Some things I feel like it had to happen in order for you to learn and grow from it. Mm-hmm. And I know that personally from my experience, like, well, I ain't gonna get too much. That'll be a whole nother topic. That's a Lifetime book and movie. But there's certain things that people have to go through, because I really feel like if I didn't go through some of the things I went through, there's no way I could be relatable to people. There's no way that I could reach out and tell somebody, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. Girl, run. Or girl, these are the signs right here. Mm-hmm. I'll list them down. Nope, that's the narcissist right there. Leave, So it's different things that I feel like we may consider them mistakes, but I feel like they're learning and growing opportunities for us. Anybody else got a space or anything that y'all might know for the young adults that's on here that you may feel like is versatile now? Mm-hmm. Oh yes, Larry. It takes less energy to be yourself than to work so hard trying to be somebody else. And that's hard to keep up with. That's a good one. That is a good one. That's a real good one. because you'll get stressed because you're like, this is so not me. Even on a job, like, this is so not me. I know more and more, Lord, this can't be for me. Like, when's my turn? Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that one key thing you said with family is when you know things about people, um, we tend to forget that there's a growing period too, right? So we may have done things when we were at this point in our life, but we are now at this point in our life. But you just remember when we were at the beginning. You don't know us now. And I think that's a problem that we have too. And we are guilty of keeping them in a 12-year-old space when they're now 32 years old. So, I'm speaking from the adult because I was guilty, of feeling like, well, you need to just get it together. It's so much I could go into in learning, right, as you get older. But one thing I have always admired, and I will tell the young folk on this call, you taught me in my older years of what it means to know your value. So if I can share that on this live with everybody, young folk know their value. And what I mean with that is in my day and time, when you got a job, you kept that job, no matter how bad they treated you, no matter how bad they talked to you, no matter, no matter what, you got that job, you stayed on that job, you retired with that job. But I do know there's twofold to this, but the one thing I did get for them is they know their worth. And they're like, no, I'm not staying here doing that for that amount. Or you're the supervisor. This is my responsibility here. I'm going to stay here and do what you hired me to do, and staying true to themselves. I've learned that in being in management and hearing things they come across, and say to you, it really made me step back and say, you know what? They just told the truth. Now, sometimes we adults can't handle that. The older ones be like, whoa, but they're telling the truth. They know their worth. I'm not talking about the ones feeling entitled. I'm talking about the ones that are working, but they know their worth. And so they're not going to stay on the job 15 years that's treating them like dirt, that overlooks them and feel like they're not adequate enough. They're not staying. They're leaving. And in the years and the layoffs I've dealt with, they taught me that. Like, know your worth. So I just want to encourage the ones that's on here, the ones that will watch us later, and the young adults especially, keep being true to yourself. And what I would say is hold the adults accountable, right? Hold them accountable. Anyone that you feel like, is not listening, make sure you get that space with them so that they can hear you loud and clear. So that was good. That was a good question. That was brought up. So, but yeah, yeah, I would definitely agree. The church is definitely one of those, and with your family, it's definitely hard to be your friend.
Mm-hmm. Any more spaces?
I think that I really think that's truly it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to make sure everybody is seen and acknowledged because I don't want to miss anybody, and I think I missed. Okay, sometimes when I try to fit in, people still don't like me, so I have to remind myself that I only have to please God and not man. And that is so true. What can I say with that one? When trying to fit in, people don't like me, so I have to remind myself that I only have to please God. The misfits. And I think you've always talked about the misfits, and then I believe Prophet Woods ended up putting something about the misfits, right? When you trying to fit in, I don't think anybody was made to really fit in. We can be a part of something, but I don't think anyone was made to fit in with people that doesn't serve their purpose. Anytime when you trying to fit in, it's like you're trying to make yourself be in a place that you don't belong. As an example, like a puzzle piece, to make it kind of clear. I had to do analogies, y'all, because sometimes I be all over the place. But an analogy with that would be like a puzzle piece, right? The missing piece to the puzzle. If you don't have that right framework, which would kind of be yourself, and you're trying to fit in other pieces from people to fit in with it, it's not going to work. It's not going to come out to the big old picture that it's supposed to be that you can see, because those are the missing pieces that kind of need to stay missing. It's not the part that you need to try to find to put in your framework. Just have your own pieces. And so growth is not to be hidden, right? Don't hide your growth, but you honor it. And so I like that. Only you have to please God, and so you honor that. Like, I don't have to hide my growth. Like, I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm an open book, really. But my growth, I'm gonna honor it, not hide it. So that's a nice take on Miss Mary.
Hmm. Yep. And you know me, this is just me, right? You can try to befriend somebody, but if they're not friendly back, then it's okay to dust your feet off, Miss Mary, and just move on, because you are a kind person. And so, if that person and have the same kindred spirit, or for those that are not in, well, everybody is, so I'm gonna keep it there, kindred spirit, then you have to move on. Like you said, you just be like, okay, no problem, I'll move on. Because that where you're trying to fit into, you weren't made to fit into it. And so we are guilty of that, people. I'm just being honest. Trying to get into something, trying to get in with somebody because they're popular, or trying to get in with this crowd because this is the clique. This is the things that I'm talking about with authenticity. You ain't meant to be in that group. That group was not the group for you. And so I love the fact that you realize, like, you know what? I don't belong here. So the only one I gotta please is God. And so, when you get in that right group and you show yourself friendly, watch how they show themselves friendly. Then you're gonna realize that I'm in the right group with the right set of people with kindred hearts, kindred spirits. That's very important. Don't try to fit in where you don't get in.
It won't work.
It won't work. I want to say this before we get out of here, because we did say 30 minutes to an hour. It'll probably be shorter next week. This is our first run at this, and I love the interaction. Um, I love that, people are commenting and really being engaged. I love the questions. And so you will find us inviting guests, to be on our lives, starting in February, because, we don't want it just to be about us. It's the community. And so different topics and things that come in, y'all please use that email, to send us, things you want to talk about, things that may have been bothering you, just want to get a better understanding of. As Brittany said, we don't have all the answers, but we promise you we have conversation. And so, and it's not about us trying to give people professional, guidance and things like that.
Yeah, just not talking
But
about it.
because we are just speaking our truth. And so we don't want to one run and say, well, they told me to go do X. Or no, we're giving you our truth and what we have experienced in life and what we know, from a professional standpoint, and from a psyche standpoint. And so at the end of the day, we just encourage you, go back, watch this, go look at the comments. And one thing I say to you, give yourself permission to love you. Tonight, go look in that mirror and say, I love me. And if you never hear nobody else say it to yourself. Say it to yourself. I told my kids, you don't wait on nobody to give you no compliment. You look in that mirror and you love what you see and compliment yourself. If they give it to you, that's just icing on the cake, right?
Thank you.
But you got to give it to yourself. And so I just encourage you to love what you see. Be your authentic self. And if you've been faking it, putting on a mask, take the mask off. It's time for you to look and show people your real, true self. Take the mask off. Because when you mask up, no one can see the real you. So I just encourage you tonight, take it off, take the mask off, so people can see your true, authentic self and love who you are just the way you are. And if you're having trouble with that, please don't hesitate to reach out, because we'll pray it through and we'll keep on speaking it. 21 days to form a habit. So stay in that mirror at least 21 days and you'll get in that habit of loving yourself, the authentic you.
And I'm gonna go the psychology way. I do Vivo exposure. So if you having trouble, I will pull up. We can go somewhere. If you having anxiety about being in public places, baby, I will pull up. Let's go to the restaurant. What restaurant you want to go
She
to?
will.
If you having a phobia of something, okay, elevators. Okay, what elevator? What hotel we about to go and step in the elevator, and we can treat ourselves to a spa that night. Something. But seriously though, reach out. And it's a community. You might see people in the comments that have other things that are saying, and good thing I want to say this. What prophet would put? We have these treasures that are hidden in earthly vessels. So oftentimes we are judged by our humanity and not given grace. I've learned that you got to see yourself as heaven sees you. And so that is good. So there's other people within a comment with certain things that you might see that might lift you and motivate you.
Yeah.
Respond to that. If you have resources, to help get people out, or to, if it's physical, spiritual, emotional, for the psyche, for your mental health, if you know people, or if someone's having what is it, the yoga classes that they be having, or Zumba or something, put it in the community. See if someone would like to go along, or just share that with them. You never know. But I really, really want to stress that this is a community that we're building up each other, and we can't do it alone. So if you, if you have ideas, let us know. If you have any topics that you would like to talk about, let us know. Please, I know people are getting confused with the Psyche in Me actual Facebook and then the group page. So try to go to the group page, because I'll start doing polls and like little activities and putting some resources in there too, just to kind of see how your day going, how you feeling. If there are some news, I don't really look at the news or the negative news. I try to spin it in a positive light. So if there's certain things that's going on, you might see me post it in there, but have a little twist on it. But check out the Facebook group page. And then with that, I also wanted to say, was you done with that?
Yeah, I'm done. Yep.
Okay, hold on.
1 second, y'all. We know we're over, but we want to share something, because that's what we're about. We are not about ourselves. We are about, we're going to share. If it's benefiting us, we're going to share it with you. So I'll let Brittany take it from here, and then we're going to be gone for the night.
Okay, so this is a resource. So like I said, you have resources that you know can be beneficial to someone. Again, there's no age requirement on here. There's nothing. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome to this. It is called the Breakthrough Prayer Line. It is every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. It is with Prophet Woods for the weekly morning prayer. However, there is someone who he is now mentoring, and she has now stepped into her call, and she has also been a big support, and that is Prophet Latish, and I hope I'm saying it right, Breeden. She actually is now hosting the prayer line. I joined this morning, and it gave me exactly what I needed every time I joined this prayer line. And y'all, I'll be tired, okay? If anybody know my day schedule, and sometimes you can't even get me on the phone because I be so busy, but I try to set my alarm and make it my business to attend this prayer line. Every time I attend it, I literally get encouraged. Normally, I'm a crybaby, which I'm glad I'm going natural. I don't have my makeup all the time now, so that's a good thing. But anyways, I'm normally like, I literally can feel the words, and I know it's not in person, but on the line, and I'm telling you, like, things start to happen on that phone call. So if you can join that community, it's the Breakthrough community, and they do have prayer again on Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. The info Eastern time, yeah, and the telephone number is there, and all you do is call, and then you put in the access code. But this is something that I think will be very, very beneficial, especially for my young folks out there. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take a long, drawn out prayer. But when I say it's beneficial and it works, baby, it works. And sometimes you might get a little dose of God and saying what it is a dose of God, period, all the way. But you might just get a prophetic word to you. And when I say it happens just like that, it's amazing. So please go and join and support them, y'all.
True prophet of God. True prophet of God. And so one more time, what's the name? Because I said Keisha. And I know that's not right. Latish. She is also a prophet, and I love her personality, and I love to see God use younger folk. But I'm telling you, even us older saints, I'm telling you, this prayer line has truly been a blessing. So again, in our closing, we want to share this with you. I encourage you to join it when you can. But it is every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will not be disappointed. It uplifts me. I mean, I was going down the road this morning to my new job and just hollering and just praising God because you can feel the anointing in that call. So I just encourage you. And you know, again, as we close for the evening, again, don't forget to be your authentic self. Don't forget to be your authentic self. You owe nobody an apology for that. You owe no one an apology for that. So, but have you shared it? It's already out there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we've shared it with you, and do you want to
Psyche,
no, but you guys, Robin. follow us on.
The Psyche
Again,
in Me.
share. We just doing what we were called to do, just kind of being an inspiration, a help, and trying to motivate and empower people. That's it. It's not really about. I know a lot of people are doing content. It's like, oh, the money. We never been really hard up for money. And again, I'm being humility. I'm not bragging and boasting. I'm just saying that in the most honest way. So this is really something that's been near and dear to my heart that was given. And then my partner also, with our love for people and wanting to motivate and empower people and seeing the best way, making them see their best versions of themselves. And so please go follow us on all these channels, y'all. We'll greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
We love y'all.
Love you. Good night.